Welcome to the Vision podcast. In these videos, we will be discussing various topics to ease the transition into the job market. Developed for and by students, the Vision program helps students gain essential skills they need to pursue a rewarding career in any environment. My name is Mélina. I'm a PhD student, and I will be hosting today's podcast. We will be discussing how to position yourself to better target. We will be receiving Marie-Andrée Lévesque, who is president and founder of Cameleon RH. They advise companies to become better at their recruitment activities by offering recruitment activities to provide clarity, velocity, and peace of mind. At the same time, they help job seekers find career opportunities that are aligned with their professional and personal values and goals. Welcome, Marie-Andrée.
Thank you so much, Mélina.
Thank you for joining us. So to start off, what questions should we ask a future employer to determine if the company's culture aligns with their values?
All right, so we'll demystify something first, okay? An interview is not only you being interviewed, it's you also interviewing the companies that you're meeting with. So the manager, the HR. So you have to ask questions and make sure that you collect those questions regarding the culture, so it's aligned with who you are as a person, what are your values, and what you're looking for as a job. So I'm going to give you a few examples of different questions that you could ask, making sure that you're able to get to grasp a bit more about the culture. So first question, ask them to describe the company culture. Even if you read it through the job the website or the job posting, having those people explaining you their vision of the culture will give you a bit more insight and a bit more details about that. What are the company core values? Are those values aligned with who you are? Do you like what you hear about those values? It's super important as well. How do employees collaborate within the company? Are they working in a team? Are they working with different departments, maybe in a more multidisciplinary perspective? So are they working alone? So you need to get a bit this information because, again, if you get the job, you will be, working with those people. So you need to like, the way they work. How does the company support its employees' professional development? So do they offer training? Do they offer mentorship, coaching? Is there any opportunities for you to grow within the business? That's key. What initiatives does the company take with regard to employee well-being? So are they offering flexibility, different types of schedule that you can choose from? If you need a day off because your kids are sick, is that something that they're gonna allow you to take as well? Or are they taking care of their employees by celebrating success, create some activities where we work on the team spirit and the synergy within the company as well? Work-life balance, you want to know, is it like a real 40 hours or it's 45 or is it 37.5? But the culture is that you work 60 hours a week, so you need to know exactly those kind of information as well. Do they celebrate success, and achievements? Is it only the big success that are, celebrated or the small one also? There are some teams that every small success will be celebrated during the week. That's something you want to know. You maybe want to be part of those kind of, culture and environment as well. What is their policy on diversity and inclusion? I think it's important to know about that as well. And what are the leadership style, So there's two things. There's a company mentality or mindset about the leadership, but there's also the person sitting in front of you. So the manager or the director that will be sitting in front of you has his own style of leadership. So you want to ask those kind of questions to say, hey, describe yourself. What kind of manager are you? How do you manage your team? So you're going to know a bit more about, do you want to work with that person? Okay, so it's super important to ask those kind of questions because you want to make sure that fits with what you're looking for.
That seems like great questions to ask. And why is it important to define our professional and personal goals before looking for a job?
It's always key to define it before. And I know it's really not easy because sometimes we're involved in a program or research and, we're busy thinking about something else. But at the same time, once you're done with your program, you want to make sure, what I'm going to do next. So you need to think a bit about that. And maybe during the course of your PhD or your research program, to think about what do you like? What type of project did you like so far? What type of work would you like to do? To give you an idea of what to look for as well. So I think that's super important. You're not going to have all the questions, right on. It's going to take time. And, with interviews you're going to do, you're going to know more about different types of culture, different types of companies. But that's going to give you, an insight of, what you want to look for in terms of your next opportunity.
And how do you find your professional vocation?
Yeah, you need to think about it. Huh? It's not that easy because sometimes it's a lot of self-reflection. It's a lot of thoughts, it's a lot of, you need to think about what did you like. So far, did you enjoy working as a team? Is that something, did you like to coordinate, research, manage a team doing research, managing the budget, the deadlines? Did you like to write down the thesis as well? Is that something that you're more analytical or you're more operation and, hands-on person as well? So what motivates you is super important. That way you're going to know what you don't want to do as well. So it's important to list both, okay? So you're going to list exactly what you like and what you don't like, because once you're going to meet people or employers, you got to be able to know right away, is that something that I want or is that something I don't want? So this kind of, self-assessment, if I could put it that way, it's kind of crucial. And it worth the investment as well.
And now that we've figured out our why, how can we identify potential employers?
All right. So now you thought about it, you've done your analysis of what you like and what you don't like. So let's say you want to work with a smaller organization because you prefer to be involved in a lot of things. You're going to look for small and medium business. If you prefer as a person being super structured and having a clear job description and responsibilities, and you like to work in a, something that's more established as a company, maybe you're going to want to look for bigger corporation as well. So that gives you an idea. And then after that, do you like to work as a team? Do I like to work alone? Is that something? So size of the company will be something. The values, the mission, what do you want to? How do you want to be treated for? What do you want in terms of your medium and long-term objective as well? Do you want to be promoted? Is that something that you look for? Or, we have some people that's looking more for management position, so they want to work with a company where there's going to be more opportunities on the long term. So that's something that you need to keep for and see as well how the organization is structured, making sure that those kind of opportunities will be presented to you in the long run.
Okay. And what types of jobs can we apply for? Do we need all the required qualifications?
No, you don't need all the requirements. Keep in mind that the job market right now is really tight. The unemployment rate is at like 2.9% in Quebec City or something like that, 4.5% in the province of Quebec, which is super low. Even if now, as today, the market is there's a bit more candidate on the market, still the unemployment rate is super low. So what's happening right now is that when an organization is looking to fill a position, instead of, putting on the job posting all the requirements, the unicorn they're looking for, they're going to be a bit more broad in terms of those requirements. So it doesn't mean that, let's say, unless it's really necessary for the position and they need a PhD student, it's going to be written there. But sometimes they're going to open up and say, hey, we need someone with a master's degree, sometimes even a bachelor's degree. And then it's not highlighted that it's for you, but it doesn't mean it's not for you. It can be for you as well. Okay. So it's super important to say, what do I want? Do I want to start as an intern? Look at the job posting, look at the requirements and the responsibilities, and ask yourself, is that something I want to do? And then just apply. So I will suggest, any internship, any entry-level position could be interesting, intermediate job as well, because this is where it's harder to fill those positions. So the company will be a bit more flexible in what they're looking for, but don't apply on a VP or a senior director. You know what I mean? Unless you do have this kind of experience prior to your PhD or your master's degree.
Okay. And how can we let an employer know that we're interested?
We have to let them know, like right away. I'm going to give you an example. There's two ways that we can let people know. Once you apply, okay, sometimes we're going to apply a position, and in the job posting, it's going to be written, this position reports to, let's say, this director of this department. Go on LinkedIn, find a director, send in a note to say, hey, by the way, I just saw your job posting. I apply on it. I'll be super interested to discuss further with you. Or find as well the HR or the recruiter and then send an email, just to let them know, hey, hello, I apply on your position. I'm interested. Sometimes they will answer. Sometimes they won't. Don't take it personal if they don't answer. They're busy doing, their day-to-day job and their stuff, so they don't necessarily see it. But at least some people may respond to you and give you a bit more information about the recruiting process. What's next, So this is one thing. So you could let people know if you're willing to do it. But if you go and interview and you meet, let's say, with the manager and the HR or someone else, and you like the job, you have to let them know. There's nothing wrong about that. Hey, I'm super excited about this opportunity. I really enjoy our conversation. I see myself working here. I'll be really interested to move forward in the process. Just let them know there's nothing wrong about that. And, maybe an email after 24 hours later to say, thanks again, for the time that we had together yesterday. I really thought the conversation was nice and so on. It's super nice to receive that. I received it last week and I was like, oh my God, I like it, because that's what we are. We are people that connect with people. So having this kind of feedback is interesting. And even if it's not working, maybe in the future it's going to be something else, they're going to remember you. It creates an impact, a positive impact. That's what you want to do.
That's great to know. And when we're doing our master's and our PhD, we're developing many skills, but how do we determine the ones that are transferable?
Yeah. So there's a ton of competencies that you develop during your program because you're working on projects. So the difference is that it's not a job in an organization or companies, but at the end of the day, it's similar. You know what I mean? You manage a project, you've done some research, you write down a thesis, you work with people. So sit down and look at what you've done so far, and just read the job description or the job posting and see what are the responsibilities, what did I do that are similar, what are the requirements, what do I have, and what is transferable. It's meaning, like, let's say project management. You've managed a project. How did you manage it? Did you have a budget? Did you have any employees working with you, or research assistants that were supporting you during this project? Did you manage deliverables as well? So what did go well and not well? I'm not sure. I think you get that.
Yes.
So you just need to know exactly about all and what happens in terms of problems and how did you overcome those kind of problems as well. So you need to, put yourself in that situation where you're going to be able to give example and knows exactly, those type of competencies. It could be project management, as we've discussed. You've been autonomous as well in your work because you were not supervised, you were working alone, but still with an objective and a deliverables and a deadline that you were able to meet. Adaptability, sometimes in an organization, there are things that go wrong and well, sometimes projects are put on hold because of a client needs and stuff like that. So you need to demonstrate that those are those kind of competencies that you were able to do, even if it wasn't a program and not in a professional position.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. So how can we present our academic achievements to an employer to link these experiences to future employment? So how can we talk about our research project after all?
It's important that you talk about it because you work so hard on it, okay? So it's, you're proud of doing it and you're proud that you have accomplished so much work. And I think it's super important that you let people know, hey, I'm proud that I have achieved my PhD in that amount of years and that my project is completed. Overall, what was my project about? So just keep in mind that most of the employers that you're going to meet, unless, they're reaching out to you because of your expertise, they might not exactly understand what you've done, okay? Sometimes, PhD student comes to us with a super complex, expertise or field of research that I don't get a word of it. So the goal is for them to, bring that research and words that we understand so they can relate to something that we know, okay? So that way they demonstrate as well that they're able to clarify, bring clarity in what they say. And then you have to take your research project and say to the manager how it's matched their job they're looking for. You see, you're looking for this type of person, that's going to do research for this type of department. You see all of those articles that I wrote about. Imagine how many research I've done. So you have to link those kind of projects you've done to exactly the job description. So that way you're going to be able to say, I may not have done it in a professional environment, but in my studies, this is how I did it, and this is how I've been able to accomplish or achieve it anyways, So you need to do a kind of a parallel between those two so they can understand and rely to it. Because they don't expect you, they've read your resume no matter what, They look at it, they read it, they know that you just finished your school and you're a graduate. So they don't expect you to have all of the knowledge. They just want to make sure so you're able to, make a link between those two. So this is key. And also maybe give a bit more of where you want to go, where you want to be in 5 years. Yeah, 5 years is long, maybe not 5 years. Let's say 3 years or, 2 years, just to give them a bit an insight that you're interested about their company and that you see a long-term as well, at least a future with them.
That's a great tip because I think I would have thought to talk about my research project because it's so specific, but it's a great idea to be able to make a comparison with the job and after all, use it for in your interview. So that seems like a great, some great tips. And now, can you tell us a bit more how we should present ourselves and how should we present our professional and academic experiences to a future employer?
Yeah, so this needs preparation. A bit what we said before. Before going an interview, you need to prepare yourself because if not, if you're thinking that you're going to go there, master it like a queen or like a king, it's not going to work. Okay, it's not. Well, some people are really good, but most of people aren't comfortable about that. Especially as an interview is super stressful. So there's two things. One tip, it's not related to your question, but I just want to say, if you're super stressed once you arrive an interview, because sometimes we sit down, there's a panel of people in front of us, and then our shoulders are like here, and then the stress is there, So you just have to say it. Thank you for, welcoming me, but I'm really stressful about this interview, so I just wanted to let you know. Most of the people will crack a joke or will say something nice to you, and then, you take a breathing, and you go down, and then it's going to be better, okay? But if you're well prepared before, that's going to help a ton, because when we're not prepared and we have this stress, your shoulders just going to go up there, and then you lose, what you want to say and stuff like that. So in order to do an impactful, presentation or making sure that you show off an interview and stuff like that, you have to start with an impactful introduction. Most of the interview will start, by asking you who you are and give me a brief, overview of who you are in 5 minutes or something like that. So 5 minutes, not 22 minutes. Okay, so just keep in mind that, listen to the question. And then what they want to know is who you are. So what type of project you work on, what are you looking for? What are your motivation? If you do have any other professional experience in the past, just talk about that. But it has to be impactful. It has to be concise, it has to be precise, and also related to the position. They're going to ask you what are your motivation. Make sure that you're not going in an interview just to get a job. You're coming here for an intention, yes, to get a job, but also because the job is interesting for you. So you need to have, not just the job, but the company is interesting for you. So you need to prepare, like, I'm here today, I saw the job, I really like it because of this and this and that. I went to see your career website that was super interesting because of this and this and that, and I want to know more, okay? And knowing your professional why, sometimes it's like we said, we did not know exactly where we want to be in a few years, and that's something that you can say as well. I'm here today, the job interests me for those reasons, I see opportunities in your business, I think I want to go there, but I think it's going to be clarified. You don't need to have a picture that is super clear of where you're going to be in 15 years. We never know anyway. Yeah. Life, will change and will bring you some other opportunities. Do your research, go see on LinkedIn who the person you meet with, who that person is, will give you a bit more information and show that you're interested in the company and you're interested in the human that you meet with as well. So go spy a bit, on their LinkedIn profile, not Facebook, LinkedIn, all right? And then with all the work you've done before, what are your competencies that are, transferable in this new role. Your achievement, what did you achieve? What kind of issues did you, face during your project or before? How did you solve it? Or, how do you cope with difficult situations? It's always good to know. And like we said, try to avoid excessive academic vocabulary that is maybe too specific to your expertise, unless that person in front of you is someone coming from the same expertise. And be authentic. We're meeting with humans. We don't want people that are super stiff on interview. We want people that are natural. Okay. Because you're gonna have to work with that person. So you want them to see who you are as a person as well. Okay. And practice that storytelling.
Great. I think that's a very important part of it. And is LinkedIn the best place to connect with potential employers?
LinkedIn is still one of the best networking professional social media in Canada and North America. Other countries, they have other social media, but in North America, it's still one of the best. I will say that most of, people are on LinkedIn. I don't say they all connected to it,
Okay.
but I think that's a good place that you can see. But the thing, you can gather a lot of information about the people you will meet, but also the company you will, apply for as well. So I think that's super interesting because they're going to give you information about the industry, their work culture, type of jobs they may have to fill, news that's coming up, and then see also, people that work for this organization, see their profile, their background, where they're coming from. That gives you a lot of information and how they move, If everybody stays in the business in the same position for the 15 years, there is no opportunity. But if someone moves in the company from a job to another, that's a great idea of, that company will promote those kind of opportunities for you. So I think that's something that will be interesting. Other than that, I think, some social media could be interesting, but networking, if there's any job fair at university, meeting with, the people that are there, it's super key. You want to meet with people. You want to connect with people. You want them to remember you, or at least, and get information.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it advisable for a new graduate to start their own business if they're just starting out in the professional world? If we talk a little bit about more business creation.
I think so. Why not? We see it. Architecture, psychology, and nutritionists as well. They do it. Dentists, they do it.
Okay.
If you have these kinds of business acumen inside of you, I think that's something that you could try. But you have to keep in mind that means opening an office, managing the accounting, the marketing, maybe the HR, eventually IT. IT for me is a nightmare. So you maybe have to surround yourself with people that have those kind of expertise that help you out. Because at the end of the day, if you start your business, you need to be out there and you need to meet with potential clients, or at least let people know that you started your business. So, they use your services. So there's, I think, something that we can think about, we can do it. You have your expertise, you've done a PhD. It's not like, you've done studies, you know your stuff. So if you're doing it, why not? Keep in mind that when you start a business, contracts are not at the door right away. So you may have few months where it's unstable in terms of the financial. But if you're able to cope with that, why not?
That's great. So is it possible to work independently? So for example, as a consultant for different companies, and how would you get started to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's possible, especially if you have an in-depth expertise in a specific field where people will need you, to work for them. Usually as a consultant, you're incorporated, you work for yourself, but you offer services to, different companies that is out there. So just keep in mind that you're going to have to do networking, because unless people know you, maybe university can help. They have a large network as well. But sometimes, you have to do a bit more business development. You still have to manage, the accounting, like we said, and stuff like that. And you have to be comfortable with the fact that usually when it comes to you as a consultant, it's because they need you for a specific subject for a specific deadline or period of time. So it might be, 6 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years, maybe. Maybe you're going to work with 1 or 2 clients in your life, and it's going to be all those 2 that are coming back to you. But if there's a slowdown, you're going to be impacted by that. So you just need to keep that in mind. But if you're comfortable doing networking, it could be like, in fact, you could start as a consultant and then, because if you have too much work, you start your business and then you hire people with the same expertise that you have.
Okay. And what should someone consider before starting their own business?
So definitely assess the demand in the market. That will be one thing. Maybe draw up a business plan just to, see what are the threat, the opportunity, the strength of your business, or the weakness that you may have that you have to compensate with, other people that will bring their expertise. But you need to have this kind of assessment of the market to see, is there enough demand to justify me being there? And also define your service offer, making sure that you have something clear, you have something to present. Target market, your rates. You have to think about that because you're going to get paid for that, for sure. You want to get paid. And what are the market opportunities and where they are. Especially with PhD, it doesn't mean that it's local. It could be, it could be international as well, depending what is your field of expertise. So just keep that in mind that, yes, it may be in Quebec City, it can be Montreal, but it can be, in Paris and London. Why not, So you just need to know exactly where is this demand. And also your financial capacity, because you have to cope for a few months before the money comes in, and develop your network. That will be key.
I think those are great tips. Thank you so much, Marie-Andrée. It was such an interesting conversation.
Thank you.
To continue the conversation, I invite you to listen to the podcast on the reality of the job market for graduate students on the website parcoursvision.ca. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you for next Vision podcast.